Hello peeps and hello peppers and welcome to the weekly recap and beginning of the week video. I wanted to model these other glasses and I wanted to show this shirt that I got on the flea market too. Like I really like these brown burgundy tones in general, and actually they also match Nicholas a little bit, and Nicholas looks a little bit tired today, but at least he provides support and an angle where you don't see the mess in my kitchen. So the plan today in this video is to do some sort of automatic or flow drawing while I'm babbling, because on the weekend it was so much fun to draw for people at the flea market and to crochet while watching the Pride Parade on another day on the weekend. Yes, busy weekend, nice weekend. And sometimes just keeping the silence and resting here and trying to look pretty. Because like I have this one favorite movie where where like person A says, "Do you think I'm shallow?" and person B says, "Honey, you don't have to be deep. You just have to be pretty." And actually, this is a start of a journey of person A to determine what is meaningful in their lives. And yes, this weekend I had a little bit of an experience what was really meaningful in my life. Um, because, for instance, at the Pride Parade, um, there were speeches, and one of them um, pointed out that human rights and like rainbow community rights are not to be taken for granted. Rather, they had to be fought for and they have to constantly be worked on. And yes, that made me think of some interactions from some years back where, uh, let's say, I told people I identify as, okay, the word that I had back in the day was bisexual, but of course, today there are more words that are more appropriate to me. And then people often said, "Who cares? That should be so normal." Yes, maybe in the mid 2000s that might have been pretty normal, but like under the cover of this being so normal, um, that meant, according to my experience, that that boundaries towards people who said like super negative things about people like me were just not set. So yes, we should care when someone tells you about their self-identification, um, that has a meaning, and especially if the person says, "I have like been called ugly names," or "I have lost a job because of this," or the people always ask me like really uninformed questions that don't sound like the people really want to get the information. Um, let's say, unless you are my personal doctor, you don't need to know what's down my pants. So, um, so yes, we have to work on keeping the conversation alive and keeping the conversation civilized. And uh, yes, uh, the last week was shaped by too much internet and too much laying in my bed, but also really getting ahead on sketching the story. Um, and writing in there what was important to me and why those things were important to me, and like my characters are taking shape. And I got an email from a creative writing podcast that characters, like really lively characters, are the heartbeat of a good story. So yes, my characters are actually coming to life, and I'm happy about that. And when I asked my tarot cards what we as a community here should take home from the last week, that was here this card with the lady. Like in classical tarot, the zero is the fool. So um, yes, let's be foolish. Let's remember when there, if and when there was anything good in your childhood. Remember what used to be good. Yesterday at the flea market was so fun because I found this like golden blouse that has a like a horrible cut, but it's a really great material, and it reminded me of like playing circus as a kid. And because I couldn't move around that much, I often was the announcer. Of course, I also made too many announcements for the other kids' taste, but maybe that's also like an autistic way to control things. It's an explanation, not an excuse. Maybe if we had the vocabulary, we might all together have reacted differently to me. But yeah, in this card, I see we should take home like not overthinking things, just create the pathway by walking it. Red is a color of passion, like hence why I like this burgundy thing so much. Um, and yes, this woman has the hair tied into a braid, and like in this tarot deck, the snail shell is a big theme. So uh, I don't know if you're spiraling anything. I often go into a downward spiral if there's too much internet, and like you know how much I love reading, hearing tarot readings. To wake up, but like today I switched a particular one off because the reader just started right away with a statement: you have signed a pre-birth contract whatsoever to be in this world at this time. And let's say, of course this person can't know it, but let's say in my world, people have used statements like this to um, belittle me, or to belittle my issues that I had with particular situations or like dynamics between people. So like in my head that rings a bell. I'm not taken seriously. So this is basically not the tarot that I will continue watching, because let's say, of course, don't get me wrong, bad things can happen, and I also believe that some people with their gut feelings can foresee bad things. But, and I like big buts and I can't deny, um, if I listen to tarot readings, I want to hear about like things that I can actually have an influence on, and what I can do to change my life and generational trauma and whatnot. Like in a, okay, I can't change it then, but I can at least influence it in a positive way. And uh, in this past week, I also had good conversations with people about showing boundaries, and it is part of taking people seriously to tell them I am not having this conversation. And what we should have as a, when I asked the tarot what we should take into this upcoming week, I don't know what the number 19 is in classical tarot, but it makes me think of a movie because I have a movie for everything. I forgot what this movie was called, but it's like about a young woman living with two older women, and they are like Christians in Ramallah in the early 2000s. And let's say the director at the film festival made a big deal of having this set in the early 2000s because this particular Christian subculture in Ramallah, I don't know anything about it, but the people, the director said this is already kind of dying out. So you had to set the film in the early 2000s, and the old lady said about the young women, Badia is already almost 19. We have to find her a husband. This is Dancing with the Sun, this card. And yes, Badia in the film also had a little bit similar dresses, but let's say the idea of finding her a husband causes kind of bloody drama. So I would say we should take into the next week also in the spirit of my ace discoveries here. Uh, let's don't make ourselves too dependent on other people wherever we can influence that. This person has 5 suns on the skirt, and I actually like the number 5 as as like having 5 fingers on a hand. So, and the hand to me is often a symbol of um, having grabbing an item uh, with a whole unit, and like that my individual parts or like personality parts have to work together to do good things. And my flow drawing here stagnates a little bit at the elephant, but so yeah, my theme in life is still the elephant. But yeah, let's get back to this here. This plant it has several branches. It can spread the leaves and fly, and yeah, let's just try to dance, like find something happy. 1313 on the timer as I said, this find something happy. And that doesn't mean ignoring problems. That just means celebrating the small things that are precious and that may give us strength to tackle the bad things rather than saying they are just so. But they are things that we can work with. And yes, I'll try to show you the elephant. Yeah, maybe the elephant is also like a working animal. And pulling out, like suddenly it comes to my mind, like to pull out tree trunks of a forest, like the tree trunks that I really need to harvest in my life, only taking from nature what I really need, but really pull out some things of the thicket in my life that are stuck. So I wish you a wonderful week where you can get unstuck and where you can move and dance freely, and have a great day. Bye bye.